There was a guy once who asked me the time at the bus station, and he had this hungry look, eyes roving up and down me. Me, comfortably, sloppily, warmly dressed, chop-haired, completely uninterested in impressing anybody that day. Me. For whatever reason, I'd caught his attention. And you don't have to be straight to know that look. As he got to talking to me, his eyes still stalking all over me, claiming this quadrant or that piece, his eyes kept up this mantra. Mine, 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 mine. I'm not used to being looked at in that way. To the point that it startled me into complete silence when he asked me out, as I was getting up to go to my bus that had just pulled in. I stood there, gaping, mouth bobbing open like it was making room for a huge, invisible pink bubblegum bubble that my startled brain had started blowing. When the bubble finally popped, I managed to blurt out that I was busy. I was looking for a job. I was being evicted. I didn't have time to be social. He'd asked for my number. Said, "So, when can you and I go out?" I remember muttering something about needing a job, getting evicted, and he said, "You can stay with me for a few days." His accent was unusual. I couldn't place it. Italian, maybe? He looked like someone who came from a culture that really lives with gusto. I gave him my number, for the simple reason I was too shell-shocked to think of anything else to say or do. He called me the next day, and I was honest. "I'm a lesbian," I said. "Well, have you ever been with a man?" And I had to say no. "Well, how do you know you're a lesbian if you've never had sex with a man?" And all I could keep thinking was, I've never been shot in the foot, but I know that I don't need to experience it to know that it's unpleasant. I tried to change the subject, but he wouldn't leave it alone. So I hung up on him. He never called again, and I was glad. Another day, I was getting on the bus, and I was feeling pretty damn pleased with myself. My girlfriend and I were doing well. Lots of crazy hot sex, the kind that causes you to injure yourself and you don't really mind at the time. But boy, do you mind it later. And I was smirking to myself, thinking of her and when I would see her again, and I'm pretty sure there was some strutting involved. And I sat down, and this wiry, weaselly little guy was eyeing me from across the aisle. He had a bright orange construction worker's vest on and a nasty grin. He got up from his seat, leaned over me, and whispered in my ear, "I see you wearing all that black, and you're looking so fine. I got all my black on today, too, you feel me?" Never mind that the guy was whiter than white, and in his 40s. All I could say was, yeah. yeah, I gotcha. He retreated back to his seat, and I found myself marveling at it. Thinking about my girl made me feel sexy. Did he see that on me? Was that the declaration I made as I set foot on the bus that day? I have to wonder still. He didn't seem to notice my hair, or my nails that were hardly there, filed flush to my fingertips and unpainted. Eaten by eyes, consumed and digested, and somehow feeling much, much less flattered than he was probably expecting me to be.